Hello, my name is Regan Kulhavy. I currently live in Columbus, Georgia. I'm an accredited VA disability attorney, and I'm currently of counsel with the law office of Will M. Helixon. Where did I grow up and how did that shape who I am? I grew up outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the small town of Kennett Square, also known as the mushroom capital of the world. I am one of 5 daughters, and I always dreamed of getting out of small town Pennsylvania and seeing the world. I spent my entire childhood reading books about Europe and traveling and wanting to get out of Pennsylvania, and that's what I did. I went to college first at Penn State University Park, and I spent 2 years there studying international political economy. For my last year, I transferred to a university in Spain called La Universidad de Alcalá de Henares outside of Madrid, and I studied economics there for 1 year. For law school, I wanted to continue living in Spain, so I looked for programs that had dual degrees between the US and Spain. I settled on one school, Stetson Law, that offered a dual degree with the Universidad de Granada in Granada, Spain. I spent 2 years studying American law in the US and 2 years studying Spanish law in Granada. What motivated me to join the Army? Being one of 5 girls, there was no woman who had ever served in the military in my family. Both of my grandfathers served, along with a couple of my uncles and male cousins. I wanted to be the first female in my family to serve. So I was offered a commission after law school, and I took it. Where did I serve while on active duty? I first went to officer training at Fort Benning, Georgia, and then to the JAG school in Charlottesville, Virginia. After that, I spent 1 year in Stuttgart, Germany at the Office of the Staff Judge Advocate in legal assistance, serving soldiers and their family members in Stuttgart. I was then transferred to Kaiserslautern, Germany to be trial counsel for the 21st Theater Sustainment Command, and I spent 2 years as trial counsel in Kaiserslautern. After that, I transferred back to Fort Benning, Georgia, where I was command judge advocate at the Western Hemisphere Institute for Security Cooperation, commonly known as WINSEC. In the past, it was known as the School of the Americas. After that, I served as an administrative law attorney at the Office of the Staff Judge Advocate on Fort Benning. What inspired me to pursue a career in military law, and especially in veterans appeals? I got out of the military in 2022, and right away I was given the opportunity to practice in VA law. And at the same time, I was pursuing my own VA claim. So at the very least, I thought, I can at least learn about VA law and see if I can help myself with my claim. Shortly thereafter, I realized this is a very important area of law for veterans, and veterans are repeatedly disadvantaged with the Department of Veterans Affairs in regards to the claims that they file. So once I realized how much help veterans needed with their claims and also pursuing my own claim, I decided to stay in this area of law and specialize, and I've been in VA law ever since. What distinguishes my approach in navigating VA appeals, especially cases like PTSD? The most important aspect of navigating complex cases is developing the record for the VA. So the VA has a duty to assist, and they will go get a veteran's medical records and their military records to help in initially adjudicating their claim. What the VA doesn't get is all the information that they're missing that the veteran can provide. And as a VA accredited attorney, it's my job to go through a veteran's file and find where those gaps of information are missing. So while the VA may know how many deployments a soldier had or how many airborne jumps they had, they're not going to be able to fill in the gaps with the day-to-day life and the wear and tear on a veteran's body. So it's my job to pull out that information from the veteran and convey it to the VA. What were the conditions of your deployment like? What toxic exposures were you exposed to downrange? How many jumps did you do? How did that affect your body? What injuries did you have during service that were not documented in your medical records? Why are they not documented in your medical records? So it's finding those holes of information that the VA doesn't have, that they need to have in order to properly adjudicate the claim. What steps do I take to establish rapport with veterans? I'm very honest about my background. I'm a former judge advocate that I'm very proud of, Army JAG advocate. My husband is still active duty Army, and we're in the military family. And I let veterans know that I'm in this business to help veterans. It's a great career, but I do this because as a veteran myself and a military spouse, I know what active duty soldiers and their families suffer, and I want to make sure that they receive the benefits that they are entitled to when they get out of the military. And most of the time, if you do not have a VA accredited attorney or at least a claims agent helping you with your VA claim, you're not going to receive the full entitlements that you should. How do I connect veterans with resources for mental health and financial stability? In talking to veterans, I can often get a sense of where they're struggling in their lives, and I'm always more than happy to connect them to not just the VA programs that are out there that are free for them, but also private companies that do a lot of healing and therapeutic work with the veteran community, and especially with the families and children of veterans. So we have those resources just by establishing connections with different companies around the U.S. When we go to these Special Forces Week or tailhook events, all these companies come together and we're able to share information and missions so that I'm able to tell veterans, hey, there's this great company that will take the families of veterans scuba diving as a family building mental health experience for the veteran. So we're more than happy to make those connections for the veterans as well as the official programs that the VA has for them. What principles guide my advocacy? My principles are straightforwardness, truthfulness, and as I always say, a spade is a spade, and I'm going to give it to you straight. If you have a 10% rating for migraines, I'll tell you you have a 10% rating for migraines. I don't fudge the facts. So while I will get the veteran absolutely every last benefit that they deserve, I am not able to create facts that are outside of the record or create a health problem that's not there. And I am very honest with veterans when it comes to, here's what you're entitled to. And you're probably, your best chance is getting a 50 to 70% rating, and you're not going to get to 100. Not every veteran does get to 100, but I will be very honest with the veteran and give them a realistic approach to their VA claim. What motivated me to become part of the law office of Will M. Helixon? I actually was referred to the law office of Will M. Helixon through a friend who spoke very highly of Will and his firm. And after reviewing his firm, seeing the scope and breadth of what he does and who he works with, it was very impressive, the list of former judge advocates but also professionals he had with the firm. And I was excited to be part of the team and be one of them. How do I view my work shaping the future for access to justice for veterans? It is my mission to put the word out there to veterans to the statutory entitlements that they have earned by their service. I think it's less than 1% of the country serves in the military, and Congress has enacted these benefits for veterans, but the military does a very poor job when veterans or active duty members are getting out of alerting them what these benefits are. I think on the out processing slide, there's probably 2 slides about VA benefits and make sure you file your VA claim. But it's this whole area of law that cannot be, put on 2 slides of the out processing brief. So it's my mission when I talk to veterans to let them know, hey, you need to get your VA claim in. What are your medical issues? This is what you need to file, and make sure you think about this when you file. And then letting them know the proper stages of the appeal, that when the regional office denies you or does not give you the appropriate rating, there is recourse to go to the Board of Veterans Appeals and have your case heard by a veterans law judge. So veterans will often give up just out of frustration at the regional office. And it's my mission to say, no, you keep fighting because you need to get what you're entitled to, and you will if you just wait it out. Why do I want to help veterans? Mostly because I'm a veteran myself and I understand the struggles of military life, especially as a military spouse. I know what veterans and their families struggle with for 20 years, longer, even if it's 5 years. I know the struggles of being in the military and being a spouse of an active duty military member. And I believe that veterans should seek the full entitlement of what our country has given them for their service. Service is very rare in our country, and I think everyone should be entitled to the VA disability and all the benefits that come with being a veteran in our country.